Welcome to White Shoulders, Boar, Goats, and Farmstead. Well, today I'm not talking about goats or the farmstead. I'm going to show you how I make sweet tea. So, everybody I know that knows me knows that I make sweet tea. And they often wonder how I get it the way I get it. Well, it's actually, in my experience, a scientific process. So you boil the water and make sure it comes to a good rolling boil. You can use any kind of tea bag. I use 7 of these double tea bags, and it's usually an off-brand. My favorite is Always Save, but I didn't have any, so I used something else. Sweet tea is best when it's in a glass jar. I have a glass jar. And once your water comes to a rolling boil like this is, you turn it off, put all them tea bags in there. And then make sure you put your lid on, take it off the heat, and let it simmer. In the meantime, we're going to put about an inch of C&H sugar in the bottom of this. I do not like any other brand of sugar, just because C&H is the only one I think is cane sugar. So you make sure you get about an inch in the bottom. And if you didn't know, this is sweet tea. Now, you want to make sure that you don't over steep your tea, because if you do, it's going to have a really nasty bitter taste. But I do know how to get rid of that just in case that happens. I just let it steep for a couple of minutes, and then I stir it around. And then the next process is, try not to burn myself. Oh, and I always use this one particular wooden spoon is the only spoon that I use to stir my tea up with. I have no idea why. It's just part of the process of me making tea, I guess. Ouch. My mother gave me this little teapot, and I have just used the heck out of it. This next part's a little tricky. Sometimes it'll pour in, and sometimes it won't. So you just pour in your tea. Probably steaming up the camera. And don't anybody tell Randy that I made this tea, because he's always trying to get me to make it, and I never do it. And it was so hot out while I was watering the livestock this morning that I just want some tea. Okay, after you get it as empty as you can get it, then I put my little handy dandy strainer on it. Have no idea where it came from. Something that I got somewhere. Put the rest of that in there. This is where you squeeze out what's left. This is just part of me being part of the homestead, so if you get use out of this, awesome. Alright, now this next part is very, very important. One of the key things about tea is you want to make sure when you're doing sweet tea that you get the sugar dissolved in the bottom really good. And you can use any kind of water you want. I'm going to tell you that the best tea comes from artesian water. I don't know why, it just does. So once you get all that stirred in there, then you just add tap water. And you stir it until you have your gallon of tea. And honestly, I do not know how to make anything less than a gallon. Just never have. I've always made big batches of this. So you just make sure that you stir it really, really, really good. And then before you serve it, it can be hot like it is right now over ice. But before you stir it, make sure you let it quit spinning around. Because if you don't, you're going to have, your tea's not going to be mixed up enough. So then I just leave it sit there on the counter, and I'll make myself a glass. And as you can tell, it is done with its spinning. So then you have the perfect glass of tea. And it tastes like the perfect glass of tea. Oh, and if you happen to taste it, I always taste it before I serve it. If you happen to taste it and it has a bitter taste to it, just add just barely a teaspoon of baking soda to it, and that will take away the bitterness. Thank you for watching, and I hope you got something out of that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends. And I hope that you're having a happy 4th of July.